Are you considering adding a new monitor arm to your current desk setup? While monitor arms can be a great ergonomic accessory, do you even know what to consider when buying your next monitor arm? In this video, we're going to cover the top 11 things you must consider when buying your next monitor arm. Hey guys, Greg with BTOD TV. While monitor arms can improve overall ergonomics and increase workspace, they do have their shortcomings. From mounting issues to potentially size and weight issues with monitors that they're pairing with, there are things that you absolutely have to consider before buying your next monitor arm. With that, let's get in the list of the things you must consider with your new monitor arm, and the first is Vesa Compliance. Vesa Compliance is an industry standard used for mounting monitors to different types of mounts. Typically, we find with computer setups, they're going to be a 75 by 75 millimeter or 100 by 100 millimeter mount that's found on the back of the monitor that you currently own or something that you might be looking to purchase. Now, the problem or thing that you need to consider here is the fact that not all monitors come with these included. And so this is something that you have to consider because it won't mount without it or easily. It doesn't mean there isn't a solution. Out there, they do have adapters. They're sort of clunky, cumbersome. They don't work as well as a system that is built into your monitor. If you want to make sure that you can mount your monitor efficiently, it's very important to consider Vesa Compliance with your next monitor arm. The size of your monitor is something that you absolutely have to consider when finding that next monitor arm that's perfect for your setup. And there's really two things that you have to consider here why you would want to know about the size and the monitor arm that you're pairing the monitor with. And that is, number one, depending on the overall size of the monitor, we do have leverage issues that we've seen where they tend to tilt left or right if a monitor is too big. Additionally, if you're looking to pair multiple monitors, you want to make sure that the width of the monitor isn't overall too wide to properly fit two monitors next to each other. The weight of your monitor is something that you absolutely have to think about when buying your next monitor arm, and that's because monitors that are too heavy can tend to pull down different types of spring mounts or even the adapter plate that attaches to the monitor itself that's used for panning and tilting functions. If a monitor is too heavy, the leverage from that monitor will either sink the entire monitor arm down or it will make the panning system or tilting function not as efficient and sometimes not hold the monitor in place. The mounting system that you'll be using for your new monitor arm is something that you absolutely have to consider. You'll find that monitor arms typically come with a clamp mount or a grommet mount, and some will even come with both. Now, what are the major differences? A clamp mount is generally a C-style or C-shaped mounting system that will kind of wrap around the top and the bottom and the back of your work surface, allowing you to clamp down nice and securely. A grommet mount, on the other hand, will actually pass through a grommet hole, which is a hole in your surface, mounting on the top and the bottom, sort of squeezing the surface in between. This will be the cleanest option and is preferred if you're someone who really likes to have a nice, clean setup. However, both setups are going to be equally as strong. Surface thickness and desk edge restrictions from things like ledges or ornamental pieces are things that you absolutely have to consider when attempting to mount your new monitor arm. When we look at the thickness of a work surface, you need to have a monitor arm that has a range in the clamp or grommet mount system that's able to span wide enough to securely mount on the desk. Additionally, you need to be able to go far enough into the desk, as some desks may have a knife edge that creates an issue when trying to clamp or grommet mount your next monitor arm. If your desk has a ledge on the back of it, like you see here in the video, and it's hard to almost reach around that and find a nice place to securely mount your monitor arm, this can be an issue as well. So you have to consider these things when measuring for your next monitor arm. Stability is something that you absolutely have to consider when thinking about work efficiency with your new monitor arm. What does this mean? As you type on the desk, or you move on the desk, or lean on the desk, you'll find that monitor arms sort of exaggerate the motion, and you'll find that they either vibrate, they sort of bounce around, but this is something that can be sort of limited depending on the design of the monitor arm that you go with. We find that monitor arms that extend far from the desk or far from the point that they mount to are going to be the worst offenders. Cheap monitor arms also are bad at this as well. If you're wanting to find the most secure mount, we generally look for something that is attached to a post and it's almost attached right on the post, limiting the amount of length from where it's mounted to where you're actually connected to the desk. Space requirement behind your desk is something that most don't really consider when buying their next monitor arm. Depending on the design, if you have multiple monitors, there is a potential issue with how that monitor arm sort of goes back behind and beyond your actual desk surface, running into things like a wall potentially when you get it set up properly. So consider how you want this setup on your desk. Does it have the ability to collapse down and be over the top of your surface, or will it require you to get it properly set up for viewing angles and distances to push it off the back of your desk? If space requirements are an issue, this is something that you absolutely have to consider. Height adjustment for your next monitor arm is something that most need to consider. Depending on your setup and how you'll be using your desk itself with the monitor arms, you want to think about, will you want to be able to make easy adjustments in height? Will it require you to make frequent adjustments, or is this something that you can sort of set and forget? The fixed or manual height adjustment that comes with most of the basic monitor arms is going to be adequate for people that really don't need to make too many fine tweaks or aren't in a shared work environment. If you're someone who is in a shared work environment, or you like to change, say for instance you have a standing desk, you like to change that height from sitting to standing, you would want to consider something with a spring or gas assisted height adjustment, as it's much less cumbersome making those height adjustments. Is the monitor arm that you're purchasing able to be adapted or adjusted later on, depending on if your needs for your monitors change? Some monitor arms can easily be added onto or have components removed. Say for instance, you start with a single monitor arm and you want to go to a dual monitor. Does it require you to buy an entire new setup? Do you have to buy an additional complete monitor arm? Or some items, like the ones that we sell here at btod.com, are modular, and so that you're easily able to add additional monitors as you grow. Or again, if you decide to go from maybe 2 larger monitors to one very, very large monitor, you're easily able to adapt and change your current setup. If you like to keep your workspace nice and tidy, wire management is something that you have to consider with your next monitor arm. Now, some of these setups do have wire management that's a little bit gimmicky, and it doesn't really help with your managing of your wires. Some systems will be better, and they'll allow you to really fully hide the wires. So if this is something that's important to you, you absolutely have to look for it when purchasing your next monitor arm. Cord length is something that you absolutely have to consider with your next monitor arm, especially if you're someone who's looking to properly manage your wires. When you actually go through the setup and you look at how these are being managed through the system itself, they do require extra length. If you're at a standing desk, depending on the reach, how high you've brought your monitors up, this could also have a play in how much additional length is required in your wires. Just a standard cable might not be enough, so this is something that you absolutely need to consider when buying your next monitor arm. Is a new monitor arm good for your current desk setup? That's not something that's so easily answered. I mean, me personally, I love having them, and we have them throughout the office, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're a good fit or will work for everybody. We hope this video of the 11 things that you must consider when buying your next monitor arm will help you decide if they're a good fit. Now, if you have additional questions or there's something you feel we missed, please help us out and drop a comment down below. We'd be happy to answer those questions. And if you like this video, please help us out by hitting that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, as we've got a ton of great content coming out. And if you do drop a question down in the comment section, we try to either answer that through the process of the comments or on our social channels such as Instagram. Thanks a lot for watching.